let's get our COVID's discussion out the way. You know what I mean? Let's go ahead and discuss it. This is okay. You think that there will be a conflict of interest here, but it's almost like this person who I have seen being in terms of their rhetoric, their what they view on certain topics pertaining to the economy, and all of that and policy. Hearing this man continue to be paraded around by the mainstream guys is something that is interesting because they look at it as if there is no conflict of interest at all. Today, or yesterday, no, it was today. It was today. Today, the 9th, as of me shooting this video. Pfizer CEO says people who spread misinformation on COVID vaccines are criminals. Okay, that's the headline. We'll get into the details here in a little bit. But let's sit and think about that right quick. Okay, guys? This is the CEO of, certainly in the West, you can argue is the most used, most sought after COVID's vaccination. Okay? This guy is the CEO for that company. A pharmaceutical company who was paid for by governments around the world, but specifically the American government, which means they get taxpayer dollars that are stolen from, to then produce this vaccine, which we know has some questionable, with the trials and all of that is coming out with these whistleblowers, really for all of these companies, to be fair. But the CEO, okay, the chief executive officer, is calling people criminals for spreading misinformation regarding the vaccinations that his company, that he mans, is creating. What the fuck else do I need to point out to show that that's bizarre? It's weird in a sense that people look at that as if that there's no conflict of interest here. It is in his best interest, in his company's best interest, that as many people as possible take these vaccinations that they have created. So when he says something like that, going as far as to call people criminals for spreading misinformation, remember, misinformation is just information that slightly questions their narrative. He says people who spread information about COVID-19 are criminals because they have literally cost millions of lives. He said for many people can go back to normal once many of the unvaccinated get vaccinated. Again, this is the CEO of Pfizer making these claims. And again, he was speaking with Washington, D.C. based think tank Atlantic Council. And this is Albert Bourla, and he said there's a very small group of people that purposefully circulate misinformation on the shots, misleading those who are already hesitant about getting vaccinated. He says those people are criminals. They're not bad people. They're criminals because they have literally cost lives. So you're a criminal for spreading misinformation. I wonder if he feels that way about Fauci or even people that are with, like maybe the director of the CDC, who then said one thing about, let's say, the efficiency of the vaccinations and then turned around about April, May, June, July, 5 months later, said that, oh, whoops, it doesn't prevent transmission. Is she a criminal? Or it's just the people that are saying things and people digest that information and decide, well, okay, I will kind of take my chances and assume the risk with my body. But apparently that's costing people's lives, they say, as if it's up to him to dictate how people must live in the first place. The only thing that stands, and this is the CEO, man. He says the only thing that stands between the new way of life and the current way of life is frankly hesitancy to vaccinations. And again, this is going to him saying that basically we can return to normal, or get to some sort of normalcy in the event that more unvaccinated people get vaccinated. Okay. I want to then just present this to you yet again, okay? This is the CEO of a pharmaceutical company that has produced this vaccination. Him saying that, I would think, is at least in some part influenced by the fact that, I don't know, he's the CEO of the company that will continue to get money in the event that you guys continue to take it. This is the same guy, if you remember not too long ago, was saying, well, we also need you guys taking boosters. He's the CEO of Pfizer, guys. And I wonder if he feels like any of the cancer-related issues that have been associated with stuff like the Chantrix deal that Pfizer not too long ago, which got swept right under the rug by mainstream, didn't even last that long. Yeah, the same company that you guys are in terms of taking their vaccination has a drug out there that was taking off because there were some cancer related or causing agents. I believe it was related to smoking or tobacco, the Chantrix deal, and they took that off. And it's the same company that's that. Now, look, this doesn't mean that all medicine or by way of the pharmaceutical companies are equal. I'm not making that suggestion, but we can't just rely upon their word alone, because it's not just with Pfizer. I mean, there's literal hundreds of drugs that have been put out there, even approved by your beloved FDA. And they have, after the fact, been taking off the shelves. And Pfizer, with mountains upon mountains of settlements and fines regarding like trial information. This is the same company. This is not a different company, guy. This is the same Pfizer. Now, this isn't me saying that, well, that automatically means it's not safe and what you call it, safe and effective. No, that's not. I don't need to use that as an excuse. What I'm saying, one, why are we listening to this man on this? Two, what the hell else is he gonna say? That does this? His words shouldn't mean as much as what it does. Considering that it's in his company's best interest that y'all continue to take this. More people take it, more they get to produce it, more money they make. It's simple. So, is that somewhat influential on his position that he would deem someone as an actual criminal for spreading some information that may influence someone to not take it? And again, there are mountains of evidence out there that it makes it a rational decision pertaining to natural immunity. Why people, first of all, the only answer they need they can just provide you an answer of no. They're not actually obligated to require they're not required to tell you why they don't want to do it anyway. But there are people making rational decisions and I think it's more of them than you give credit for. There are people making rational decisions that have assessed the information that is available to us. I'm one of them, guys. I'm one of them. I've assessed the risk. And I've said many times, even if something happened to me and I got the COVIDs and end up getting severely sick or worse, nothing changes about what it is that I said. Okay. I've assessed the risk. I've looked at the data that is available, and particularly and more importantly, what's going on with this natural immunity v. double jabs. Of course, as considering I'm young and healthy and the demographic that I'm in, why would I not look at that and say, okay, well, maybe this is something that I want to sit out? With even rarity among people, my age and younger, rarity with myocarditis is still a thing. Why would I want to risk that, considering that I'm in the age and health demographic that it's almost statistically insignificant that people that are in my age and health demographic are being hospitalized or dying from this? Okay. So looking at that, and it seems that there's a bunch of studies pointing to ideas that natural immunity is stronger than double jabs. Okay. There's studies out there that we have covered from the experts that suggest exactly that. Okay. So if they're saying that, yeah, one can come to the conclusion and say, nah. But if they put that information out there to why they maybe made the decision, and that, let's say, influence someone that was hesitant, which is not hesitancy if they just don't want to do it, but maybe that does influence someone. And because they don't line up to take your vaccine produced by your company, they're a criminal. Oh, because it's costing lives, as if, they've never costed any. This is what I'm talking about, guys. Follow the money. Just follow it. You just watched a clip from my podcast, For Cannon's Sake. Catch us live at 12 p.m. throughout the week over at youtube.com/YoungRipper59 and follow us over at odyssey.com/@YoungRipper59. If you want to watch the entire video cast after the show is over, just be sure to become a member on the YouTube channel. Of course, the full audio portion of the podcast is available for free on all major digital platforms, or just visit forcannonsake.com.